Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. On behalf of Barry Platt Real Estate, we'll have to welcome you to the auction here today of 117 Leeds Road here in Mount Waverley. For those of you that I haven't had the privilege of meeting, my name is Munafo and I'll proudly be your auctioneer. Assisting in proceedings today, part of the area's most active and progressive auction squad, we've got Ernest, which is probably had the opportunity of meeting throughout the open for inspections. We've got Jason, who else do we have? Colin, and we're well supported with the rest of the staff that you may have also had the privilege and opportunity of meeting throughout the course of the campaign. The contracts at display have been prepared by Allied Conveyancing Services, and we sincerely believe that everything that you need to know about the property has certainly been encompassed into the documentation. The particular sale read that the property is legally described is certificate title as volume 09769, folio 157. It's a lot of numbers, ladies and gentlemen. What it simply means is taking the land, together all the proven essentials, all here today is 117 Leeds Road here in Mount Waverley. The goods, the shadows, the things that will be staying with the property, should you be the lucky purchaser here today, are all fixed floor coverings, curtains, blinds and electric light fittings as inspected. The next thing to talk about is the price. What is it worth? Well, that'll be determined by your bidding here today. For a successful purchaser, will call upon you to sign a contract to sale and pay a deposit equal to 10% on the fall of the contract, and the balance payable in a very flexible 30, 60, even up to 90 days from today's date, unless prior arrangements have been made with an agent. The vendor statements, otherwise known as Section 32, shows the rates for the City of Monash to be a very reasonable $1,940.15, and Yarra Valley Water of $708.72. Obviously, water by usage is an additional amount. As you'd expect, all services, including electricity, gas, telephone, water and sewerage, are either connected all available to the property. And the zoning is a residential zone, Schedule 3, ladies and gentlemen, which is one of the highest and best forms of zonings you can achieve in Melbourne at this point. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am obliged to read through the rules of auction as part of the auction proceedings, and they are as follows. The auction will be conducted in accordance with the rules and any additional conditions that were made available for inspection before the start of the auction. The auction rules prohibit an auctioneer from accepting bids or offer the property after the property has been knocked down to that successful bidder. Make that very clear, ladies and gentlemen. Once I declare the property on the market, once the contract hits my hand, the property will be sold. So if you're here to bid with confidence. Make sure I see your hand, yell it out to me. I don't mind, because make it very clear I cannot and will not take any bids once the property has been sold. The vendors have a reserve price, may add an extremely realistic one. As an auctioneer, I'll indicate bidders upon request. The law prohibits false bids and prohibits major disruptions by bidders, and prohibits bidders attempting to prevent others from bidding, and does provide fines for this conduct. The rules permit vendor bid. The words I use during the auction to indicate I'm making a bid on behalf of the vendor are vendor bid. By law, only I as the auctioneer can make that vendor bid. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the documentation. Are there any questions at all? Happy to help I can. Good crowd. 117 Leeds Road here in Mount Waverley. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you're an opportunity wandering through this amazing property prior to the auction commencing, so I don't plan to walk you through the home room by room, but there's certainly some things I feel I need to highlight and also mention. I know that you would have noticed the home office, 4 great sized bedrooms plus an open study. There's 3 generous bathrooms. There's a 2-car garage with internal access into the home, and one absolutely amazing lifestyle for one lucky buyer to try and secure here today. Opulence and grandeur takes centre stage in the spectacular French-inspired masterpiece, offering a lifestyle with complete focus on family fulfilment. Built on a grand scale and finished to an eminent standard with the ambience that reflects its glowing charm. Sorry, I was trying to get this over. It reflects its glowing charm. Epic dimensions and brilliance are framed with tall windows, capturing the northern sunshine, while manicured garden vistas are enjoyed by every angle of the home. The well-considered design is immediately impressive upon entry, greeted by the inspiring foyer, laced with those gleaming floors and soaring ceilings. The high-pitched ceilings continue throughout the lavish formal domains, creating an infinite sense of space that continues to show no boundaries. The entertainer's kitchen is finished in quality timber with a large stone benchtops, while ample storage cupboards and built-in breakfast bar are a valuable inclusion that provide useful preparation and storage spaces. Overlooking expansive living and family dining, this space fuses seamlessly to the outdoor entertaining area, while sliding doors retract to reveal the entertainer's paradise, adding another element of surprise to the inviting alfresco and spectacular private gardens. Internal entry into the home by the secure garage is accessed with ease. Before the staircase introduces you to the extravagant and expansive upstairs level, greeted by the magnificent master suite featuring its own walk-in robe as well as the built-ins and its own private bathroom. An opulent alternative amongst the remaining bedrooms and leisure zone incorporated to complete this ultimate family affair. The popular location proudly encapsulates a lot of things that flawlessly appeal with this home in Chance. Well positioned with a selection of some of the Melbourne's leading schools within easy reach, including the Mount Waverley Secondary College, literally footsteps away. We've got Hunting Tower, Avila, Wesley. The list just goes on and on, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you that are family buyers, I'm sure you've taken that into consideration. But you're not just buying a magnificent home, ladies and gentlemen, you're buying a spectacular and amazing neighbourhood. Ladies and gentlemen, a neighbourhood where people still have the time to stop and say hello while they're taking a leisurely stroll. The neighbourhood that you can rely on when you're going away for the weekend with your family, that you rely on to ask to bring in your bins, collect your mail. You've certainly got that position here today, something that's so sought after yet rarely seen. So ladies and gentlemen, you're buying an amazing home, you're buying a fantastic neighbourhood. That's enough from me. I'm in your hands. Ladies and gentlemen, before I get started with the bidding, just like to remind everyone that the person that bids first here today will receive a bottle of wine as our way to say good luck with your endeavours of securing your family's future. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm in your hands. Who'd like to start me off in a fair and reasonable start for 117 Leeds Road here in Mount Waverley? I'm in your hands. 1.3. 1.3? 1.3, welcome to the bidding, sir. A little bit lighter than I thought, but I'll take your bids at 1.3 and I'll take 50s from here. At 1.3, I'm fairly bid. At 1.3, good luck with your bidding, sir, here today. At 1.3, big great buying at this sort of price. At 1.3, can I say 1.35? At 1.3, I'm fairly bid. At 1.3, just the gentleman over here. At 1.3, can I say 1.35? At 1.3, we have for the first call at 1.3. Second call at 1.3. Third call at 1.3. All done, all finished, all silent. It's going to be a quick auction. 3.5. Welcome to the bidding, sir. Good luck with the endeavours today. 3.5. Can I say at 1.4? At 1.35, I'm fairly bid. Fresh bidding over here. At 1.35, I'll call it down. At 1.35, I'll take another 50. Bring me up to 1.4. At 1.35, I'm fairly bid. At 1.35, I have the first call at 1.35. Second call at 1.35. Third call at 1.35. All done, all finished, all silent at the 1.35. Third, come with bid, 1.4. Quick bid's a good bid. Look at what you're buying. 1.4, good decision, back on top at 1.4, 1.45, can I say? Don't do that, it's too early. At 1.4, I'm fairly bid. At 1.4, you're all welcome to join in. At 1.4, I have over here in the middle. At 1.4, I'm still taking 50s from here. At 1.4, we have the first call at 1.4. Second call at 1.4. Third call at 1.4. Are we all done? All finished? All silent? Can I tempt you now? Look at the crowd, the clear reflection, the quality of the home. Standing proud, a place you'd be proud to call home. Get home of an evening after a long day at work. At 1.4, 4.5, you'll thank me later. At 1.4, all welcome to join in. First call at 1.4. Second call at 1.4. Third call at 1.4. Are we all done, all finished, all silent at the 1.4? Ladies and gentlemen, just want to let you know, we know there's interest here. In order for us to be able to help you, you need to do that by showing your interest in lifting your hands. Won't force to pass the property in, which I'm sure we won't, but if we do, make sure you're holding that last bid, because it gives you sole and exclusive rights of coming in and talking to our vendor about meeting a price. Our vendors want a result, they want to see a sold sign on that board. So I'm sure if you're given that opportunity, you'll be walking out with a sold sign. At 1.4, I'm in your hands. First call at 1.4. Second call at 1.4. Third call at 1.4. Are we all done, all finished, all silent at the 1.4? I'll tempt you down. 4.5. Sorry. At 1.4, 4.5. We'll get there anyway. Get there first. Get there first. 1.4. I didn't hear the bid. 1.45, welcome to the bidding. Fresh bidding over here. At 1.45. At 1.45 I have. At 1.45 it's against you now. At 1.45 can I see another 50 to bring me up to 1.5. At 1.45 I have. At 1.45 I have for the first call at 1.45. Second call at 1.45. Third call at 1.45. All done, all finished, all silent. 25. Bring me up to 75. 1.475, I'll take that as well. At 1.475. At 1.475 it's against you now. I'll give you the same opportunity. 25 to bring me up to 1.5. At 1.475 I have. At 1.475 it's against you as well. At 1.475. At 1.475 I have for the first call. 1.5. Sorry. Yes, we'll be too keen there, were we? At 1.475. First call at 1.475. Second call at 1.475. Third call at 1.475. Are we all done? All finished? All silent at the 1.4? 1.5 you got there. Good decision. Back on top at 1.5. At 1.5 I have. At 1.5 I'll call it down. At 1.5 can I tempt you now? At 1.5 don't let that scare you away. At 1.5 fairly best position right now. You've been with me all the way. Yep. 25. I'll tell you what, I'll take a 10 if it makes it easier. You'll thank me later. At 1.5, another 10. You all same opportunity. Take it front. First call at 1.5. Second call at 1.5. Third call at 1.5. All done, all finished, all silent at the 1.5. Take your 10 now. I'll take your 10 now if you like. 10? Yes, no? Just going to hold back like a few others. At 1.5 I'll call it down. First call at 1.5. Second call at 1.5. Third call at 1.5. Are we all done? All finished? All silent? I'll tempt you now. Put me in 10, sir. Baby's saying yes. What's the size of those bedrooms? I'll give you a moment while we seek instructions from our vendor. Thank you for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. Always a very important time for our vendor. They want a result, they want to see a sold sign on that board. Our instructions are very clear. Been asked to put it over to you again. At 1.5, best position right now. Now's the time to act, ladies and gentlemen. If you're interested in this property, put up your hand because I can assure you it certainly won't be here tomorrow. At 1.5, I'm in your hands. Best position right now. I've given you a moment to think. At 1.5, do I see the increments from here? At 1.5 I have. At 1.5 I'll call it down. At 1.5 see with us at start. At 1.5 make it 10 to bring me up to 1.51. No? 10? Welcome to the bidding, fresh bidding at the back there at 1.51. At 1.51 we have. At 1.51 quick bid's a good bid, make it 1.52. At 1.51 I have. At 1.51 it's against you as well. At 1.51 I'll call it down. At 1.51 in your hands, you're on the phone. 5.2, 5.3 being better. At 5, 1 we have. 2, 3 or more. Yes? Make manager, I hope. Yes? No? At 1.51 I have. At 1.51, fresh bidding at the back. Would it make a difference if I said we're on the market, we're looking at the new owner, if there's no further bidding? Ladies and gentlemen, if you're interested, now's the time to act. We're selling. Best position right now. At 1.51 I have 5. I'll take you 5. It's all money from here. At 1.515. At 1.515 I have. At 1.515 it's against you at the rear. It's on the market. We're here to sell. At 1.51 we'll change it to a red marker right now. At 1.51. At 1.51 I'll call it down. At 1.51 the back here. Make it 5.5. Good strong bid. Now's the time to show spread. Over there, against you. At 1.20, straight back on top. At 20 we have. At 20, 25 can I say? At 20 we have. At 1.52. At 1.52. 5 will put you back on top and the same over here. At 1.52 I have. At 1.52 I'll call it down. At 1.52 we're selling. 5. I thought you were being a little bit rude there for a moment. 1. Ones. I'll take you once, sir. At 1.521. At 1.521. Just wait over here, I'll get one over. Over here as well. At 1.521. At 1.521. I'm in your hands, ladies and gentlemen. We're selling. 2, 3.
1.523.
Fantastic. At 1.523. At 1.523. So he started this competition. Make it 5.5. 2.25 I mean. Yeah, 1.525. Yes? It's only 2. Take 1, I'll give you 1 and be in the same position. 1, didn't work. At 1.524. At 1.524. Against you now, Jason. At 1.524. Over here, it's against you and you as well. Good strong bid either way.
1.53. 1.53.
1.53. Good bid at 1.53. At 1.53 I have. At 1.53, now's the time to make a decision. We're selling. First call at 1.53. Second call at 1.53. Third call at 1.53. All done, all finished, all silent. 5. 5. 5-4. Good strong bid at 5-4 we had. 1.54, make it 5.5. 5.4 over here, it's against you now. At 1.54. At 1.54, make it 5.5. Yes?
1541.
4-1. Fresh bidding over here. Welcome to the bidding at 1.541. At 1.541, you nearly had it. At 1.54155, can I say? First call at 1.541. Second call. 1,000. 4.2. 4.2, and you're back on top at 1.542. At 1.542. We'll be quiet in the middle here. At 1.542, it's against you over there. At 1.542, come with me for another one. Get me off this number, please. At 1.542, 5.5.
1.55.
5.5, even better. At 1.55, at 1.55 we have. At 1.55 it's against you now. At 1.55, make it 5.6. Quick bid's a good bid. Now's the time to show strength. At 1.55 we have for the first call at 1.55. Second call at 1.55. Third call at 1.55. All done, all finished, all silent.
Another 5,000.
5,000, I'll take that as well. At 1.555. At 1.555.
1.56.
5.6, straight back. At 1.56 we have. 5.6 against you now. 5.7 can I say? At 5.6 we have. At 1.56. At 1.56 I'm in your hands. At 1.56 we have for the first call. At 1.56 against you. Second call at 1.56. Third call at 1.56. You like it, so I'll take you one as well. At 1.561. At 1.561. 5.7.
1565.
6.5, straight back. 6.5 we have. At 1.565. One can I say? 1.565. Against you. One didn't work. First call at 1.565. Second call at 1.565. Third call at 1.565. All done, all finished.
2001.
2,000, you'll try two, it's better than one. At two, we'll take that at 1.567. I believe. My maths is right. That's 6.7. That's 6.7 we have.
1.57.
7. I'll take that as well at 1.57. At 1.57, you're back on top. Don't let that scare you. Make it 5.8. Quick bid's a good bid. Show strength.
So I couldn't see, was that the same bidder or?
It is the same bidder that you're against, yes. Yes.
So what moment?
One moment, sure, no problem at all. At 1.57. At 1.57, best bid right now, we're selling. First call at 1.57. Second call at 1.57. Third call at 1.57. All done, all finished, all silent. We didn't start.
3,000.
3,000. Interesting numbers we're choosing, but I'll take it as well. At 1.573. At 1.573.
1.575.
75. 75 straight back. At 1.575. Tell you what, say 1.6. Probably get there. 75. Goes to you as well. First call at 1.575. Second call at 1.575. Third call, 1,000. All that for the one. I'll take you one, it's all money from here. At 7576 we had. At 76 goes due.
1.58.
80 we had. 80 make it 90. At 1.58. First call at 1.58. Second call at 1.58. Third call at 1.58. All done, all finished, all silent. 85. 85 straight back. At 85, I'll give you the same advice. Make it 1.6. Come the rush to get there. 1.585. First call at 1.585. Second call,
88.
8.
1588.
1588. Good lucky number at 1.588. Tell you what, we'll get to that 1.6. I assure you. At 1.588. Now for the first call, 1.6. Good decision. A strong bid at 1.6. At 1.6 we finally got there. At 1.6, don't let that scare you. Make it 6.1. At 1.6 we have. It goes to you now. Give me a 10. 6.1 can I say? Yes? 6-1. Good decision. Back on top at 6-1 we have. At 6-1 you nearly got there. That's 1.61 against you now. Make it 6-5. That's 1.61. Over here it's against you. Let's be clear. We're selling. First call. Second call. Third and final. Another 3,000. That's 1.613. Make it 6-2.
1-5.
1.5. Straight back. At 1.615. 6-2 will be the next bid. At 1.615 it's against you. Another 5. Yes? Another 5. Put you back in front. Straight home. Look what you're buying. First call at 1.615.
1617.
1617. There you go. You heard it yourself.
162.
6-2 straight back. At 1.62. At 1.62. Next bid will be 1.63, I hope. At 1.62 we have. First call at 1.62. Second call at 1.62. Third call at 1.62. All done, all finished, all silent. We're selling. 1.63. At 6-3 we have that's you at the back end. At 1.63. We have the first call at 1.63. Second call at 1.63. Third call at 1.63. All done, all finished, all silent. Need a decision.
1.64.
6-4, they took it first. At 6-4 it's going to be now. At 6-4 we have. 6-5 can I say? At 1.64 fairly bit over here against you. At 1.64 we have. At 1.64 we have the first call at 1.64. Second call at 1.64. Third call at 1.64. All done, all finished. 6-5 straight back. You're back on top at 6-5 we have. That's 6-5, 6-6. 6-5's over here, it's against you now. That's 6-5. 6-6.
6-6.
Good decision, you're back on top as well. At 1.66. At 1.6667 can I say? That's 6-6 we have. 7. Make it a quick bid.
等一会儿。
I thought I heard that. I'll take you one at 6-1. At 1.661. At 1.661. 6-7. At 1.661 we have the first call.
665.
65. 65, yes, I heard that right. At 1.665. Against you again. At 1.665. Over here it's against you. 6-7. Yes. 6-5. 5 more. Yep, 6-7. 6-7. Good decision. At 6-7 we have. At 6-7, call it down. At 1.667. Sorry, 6-7. At 1.67 we have.
7.5.
7.5 straight back. At 1.675. At 1.675. At 1.675 we're selling. First call at 1.675. 6-8. At 6-8 we have. At 1.68 finally got there. At 1.68. 85 can I say? At 1.68 it's against you now. At 1.68 I have. At 1.68 I'll call it down 3 times and 3 times only. Let's be clear, we're selling. First call at 1.68. Second call at 1.68. Third call at 1.68. All done, all finished, all silent. Been with us all the way. Definitely. Thank you for your participation. Over here as well, with us at start. Definitely. Sure. Great home, I'm sure you all agree. No, definitely not. Well, looks like you may have done it. I'll call it down 3 times and we're selling. First call at 1.68. Second call at 1.68. Third call at 1.68. All done, all finished, all silent. Definitely out. Sir, give me your moment. Sure. Thank you again. Well, the property's going. Going. Not missing anyone, I hope. Sold. Congratulations and welcome to the neighbourhood.